How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my channel. Mike here. Today we're gonna talk about commercial real estate, which I'm sort of knee deep in right now, and I've got big plans for this year. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Mike. I'm a serial entrepreneur, investor, and I dip my hands in and out of real estate. For the most part right now, I do what's called buy and hold. So I'm not into flipping, I'm not into wholesaling, but rather buy investment property and hold on to it for a long period of time or fairly short period of time, and either flip to something bigger or better. I'm all about the cash flow. So that's my strategy. And for this year, I'm gonna lay out my plan. The goal is to buy big apartment buildings and complexes. So you think, how do you even go about this? Generally speaking, if you're starting out in real estate, there's so many different avenues that you can get into, but I think most people start with single family. So you can always buy a single family property and turn it into a rental, or you can do what's called house hacking, where you live in one part of the house and you rent the other part out, or you could just rent rooms or beds, whatever flows your boat. The goal is cash flow. Now, why apartment buildings? Apartment buildings can be a little scary, at least for somebody who's fairly new, but the truth of the matter is it's all about the deal. If you watch guys like Grant Cardone, he would say things like, it's all about the deal. You don't need the money. I don't know why people are asking about, I don't have the money. If you find a deal, then you're gonna find the money. Some part of that is true. As a matter of fact, a good part of that is true, and it's something that I've learned also. So when you're shopping commercial properties, the deal, or any property, the deal really is the biggest factor. And there's money. There's money all around, depending on the circle that you keep around you. But if you are serious about what you're doing and you do find good deals, chances are you'll be able to find the right people to fund that deal. My goal is to buy apartment buildings. One, because the limitation is not there compared to single families. What I mean by that is my turnover rate is almost gone. So say for example, with my single family properties, whenever somebody moves out, I have to keep the property open, clean it up and whatnot, and then keep it open for, say, and sometimes it's been 30 days. So 30 days, I'm still paying the mortgage on that property, but it's vacant. With an apartment complex, you don't have one roof and one head. Basically, you have multiple doors, and that way it's like a shock absorber for when people move in and out. So that way you're not thinking, oh man, I've only got one tenant, and once that one tenant moves out, you're trying to find somebody else. So that's one benefit of apartment buildings. Second reason is that investing in apartment buildings are almost recession proof. Generally speaking, people need a place to live. And if you target the right audience, meaning if you target the right customers and you can find working class people, chances are they're gonna rent your space for a long time compared to either higher middle class or people who can afford to buy their own house. So depending on the location and the class or economic class of people that you are catering to, you will be profitable. Recession proof being that people need a place to stay, people need a roof over their head, so you don't have to deal with, even when there's a downturn, especially like say this pandemic, for example. Now, there were a lot of people who were late on their rent or who could not afford to pay rent. But for the most part, during a recession, people will still pay their rent. So it's almost recession proof. It's a business that doesn't have to rely on the markets for it to succeed. Third part is the value add aspect. So as an investor, for me, what I'm looking for in deals are properties that are either below market rate in the rent, not necessarily the building. If the structure itself is in good condition and it's well maintained, that's good. I'm not necessarily looking for something that I need to tear down or replace a bunch of things. As a matter of fact, I'm not looking for that. What I am looking for are generally properties that are either below market rent and I can go in and change just a few things, even simple things like new paint and new carpet can raise the rent by a good amount. And so once I go and get a property like that, I'm able to do little fixes here and there, and I'm able to stabilize the rent rate. That will increase, one, my gross revenue and hopefully my net revenue as well, and eventually also increase the value of the property. So the value add part is the third reason why I want to invest in big apartment buildings. The fourth reason Am I on 4 yet? Yes. Number 4. The fourth reason is this. The value of my property would have nothing to do with my neighbor's property. This is sort of the flaw of single families. So if you say buy in a neighborhood, you buy a house in a neighborhood, chances are the value of your house is determined by the value of your neighbor's house. Say for example, if your neighbor's house is not the best, say you had the best house on the block and your neighbor's house sold for, I don't know, let's say your neighbor's house sold for $300,000. Even though you've done a lot of good things to your house, you've renovated, you've made it look nice, you've done the landscape and all that good stuff, chances are the market will still use your neighbor's house to determine the value of your house. But guess what? With apartment buildings, that doesn't happen. It's not necessarily dependent on what the next house or the next building sold for. Now, the next building, it will determine that, but really it's the income itself. That's the one factor to me that's most important when determining the value of an apartment. It's not necessarily dependent on the neighbor's house or 2 houses away. It's really dependent on what the rent rolls are, how much are the rents, and then that becomes the multiplier to get the value of the property. And so it really becomes a real business. And for me, that's really good. And also, number 5, which is where I will stop with this video. Number 5 is when you have an apartment building, it also forces you to have a system. By having a system, you have a property manager. Right now, if you're still, doing single family, imagine this. If you are investing in single family homes, okay, and you have 20 doors, that's 20 different houses. 20 different houses that you would need to manage, 20 different houses you need to get a property manager for if that's what you're doing, or that you personally manage yourself. 20 different locations, 20 different repairs and maintenance, 20 different roofs, 20 different AC units, things like that. So if you have the same 20 doors in one complex, guess what? You've got one location, you've got one or maybe several roofs that you need to worry about, but you also have a system, you have the right management in place, and you have things run smoothly compared to having to go to different places. So this is another reason why I love to invest in big apartment buildings, because of all of these benefits. Now, it's not a walk in the park. There's a lot of work that comes with this, at least in the early stages. But once you get the ball rolling, you understand the lingo of things, and you have a proper system in place, it becomes easier. And man, if you play your cards right, your wealth will go this way and this way and this way. Just find a deal. The deal is always the most important thing. So that's my plan for 2021. I'm going to be buying more deals this year, and as I turn over deals, I'm definitely going to make a video about it, because part of what I want to do on this channel, one, is to share my passion and my journey in business, but also to expose some of you or whoever's interested in any of the things that I'm involved in, to expose you to it. And if you want to do it yourself, please go ahead and do it. And if you have any questions for me, just drop it in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if this is your first time. Be sure to subscribe with the notification bell on. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.